everyone, welcome to Morning Laziness. This is Nilima KS, and today we are bringing to you an interview session with Ms. Harika Parmar. Morning Laziness is an online magazine dedicated to women. It showcases various articles, personal life stories, and interview sessions on different matters concerning women. And today, our interviewee, Ms. Harika, happens to be a leading ethical tour operator as well as the founder of VOGO Tours. So let us welcome our interviewee. Hello, Harika.
Hi, Nilima. Thank you so much for having me.
How are you doing today?
Not bad at all, thank you. Super pleased to be able to have this conversation with you and spread the awareness of Virgo. So fire away, ready for you.
Great. Well, since you're on board with morning laziness, how do you normally begin your morning?
How do I begin my morning? Well, I think it all starts with personal wellness. And for me, I've got to get up early in the morning, conquer the day, do a bit of yoga, and just mentally put myself in the right frame of mind to begin the day and to just embrace all the craziness that I'm going to expect. So I'd say start the day with the right frame of mind as early as possible and possibly a good yoga session. And that's really the go-to, and then of course followed by green smoothies and just all the fuel that you'd need to start the day. So that's a typical day morning start to life of Harika, to be honest.
Great. So since VOGO Tours has been really associated with vegans and vegetarians, so what exactly influenced you to pick up this particular category of people, or to give them a space through your platform?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I think before the idea even came about, it started from a place of struggle and sacrifice. I think the biggest challenge that I had, being a lifelong meat-free, fish-free individual, it was the struggle of finding tours and sort of finding ethical tour operators and travel companies that aligned with my vision, I would say. So, finding tours that didn't involve meals with meat or animal exploitation and staying in chain hotels, that was the single biggest challenge. And it's safe to say I had my fair share of terrible food experiences, really plain, simple salads. I'm talking as basic as just shredded lettuce on a plate. Quite bland for sure. Accidental meat broths, even fish dishes, sort of misunderstood as vegetarian choices or vegan choices. So really it's really relatable for a lot of vegans, vegetarians. And so it started from a place of, well, there's nothing out there, I need to do something to change this. So I started VOGO Tours to change that narrative and to truly resonate with valuable sort of ethical exploration at its core.
Great. Well, what are your thoughts on the recent IPCC report that was released lately?
Yeah, that's interesting because if anything, the IPCC report has taught us that we need to change. We need to change the way we eat, our lifestyle, our food habits. We need to look at the way that we're consuming, not just from food, but from our clothing supplies, our food habits, who we are actually contributing funds to. And big changes really need to happen if we are even on track to save this one single planet that we have. And I would say the biggest takeaway and the most actionable sort of solution for us is to start in the most simplest and easiest way possible, which is to reduce your meat intake and to increase your vegan and vegetarian sort of consumption of food. So start just individually with our diets.
Great. Well, how do you think we could combat climate change by embracing sustainability and a vegan lifestyle?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, when we look at climate change in general, and when we are looking at what's affected by climate change, it's animal agriculture, it's the single biggest contributor to climate change. So the simplest, quickest and most efficient way to do this is just shut it down completely, just stop meat-based products, and sort of embrace and adopt vegan and vegetarian foods and consumption.
Right. Well, talking about illegal practices related to animals, like poaching, for example, which often lead to extinction of various animals, what are some initiatives that you would recommend to prevent these and to in a way, prolong the life of these precious species of our planet?
They really are, you're right, Nilima, they are so precious, and any type of imbalance will just have a huge detrimental impact to the ecosystem. You know, when we think of rhinos and elephants, you know, these huge mammals, they've been around for years, and it would be such a shame to have these completely wiped out from our roster of beautiful creatures. You know, we're so lucky to be able to just walk the land that these huge, beautiful animals are also walking on. And I'd say there's a couple of things really that we can truly do to protect and to conserve these creatures. When it comes to a travel point of view, the biggest factor is to not engage in any animal exploitation whatsoever. That's the single biggest thing. You know, a lot of these animals that are actually used in guest entertainment, tourism entertainment, you know, sometimes these have been illegally captured. You know, when you think of elephant rides, this could be avoided altogether by simply saying no to animal exploitation in any way. So no to animal rides. You know, that's the single biggest way to do it. Beyond that, there needs to be tougher laws. We need to give animals sanctuaries. There needs to be plenty of sort of oceanic hope zones, zoning in general in lands, and the other really simple sort of overlooked element is to simply stop the purchase of illegal animal trade, you know, from shark fins to ivory. There's a lot that we can do just as individuals. In terms of other organizations, there are some brilliant organizations like the International Anti-Poaching Foundation that we could actually contribute to, we can donate to, and they are doing everything that I've just mentioned as well. As part of our tours as well, we work very closely with a lot of sanctuaries, local animal rescue places as well, and we do everything we can to educate and to conserve and to protect animal creatures and to prevent them from becoming extinct.
Right. Now, coming back to VOGO Tours, you began your quest for eco tours with a documentary called Earthlings. So what was all about this documentary that fascinated you towards this concept?
Yeah, that's really interesting, because Earthlings was this was something that was sort of came into my radar when I was quite young. I mean, I was only 13 at the time, and you know, there wasn't half the information overload that we now are exposed to. And at the time, I was given this documentary to watch, and it was on YouTube, and it was a very raw, gripping documentary on how animals are treated behind the scenes, and it's very graphic, and it's so graphic enough to completely change your perspective on animals, the way they're treated for the agriculture industry, and really it's watching that sort of raw, graphic content that truly just made me flip the switch, and to never look back, really. So I really recommend anybody to watch Earthlings.
Great. Now tell us about VOGO Tours. What exactly is this platform all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, VOGO Tours is the leading UK-based tour operator with a sole focus on vegan and vegetarian small group and private tours as well. And really, it's all about having that belief in vegans, vegetarians, and flexitarians, and empowering them to travel without compromising on food or ethics. So essentially what we do is create and completely curate really unique adventures, and we do that by including philanthropic activities, ethical sort of exploring, and quite unique sort of food concepts as well. Things like having a private chef on a houseboat in Kerala, down south on the southern coast of India, and just being completely exposed to a unique way of traveling, very different to mainstream budget chain resorts where masses of tourists flock, straining the local resources. So that's pretty much what VOGO is about, and our trips are unique. We really embrace the land and the nature, the local people. We stay in eco lodges and boutique hotels, and we source our food from organic vegetable gardens, and we engage in natural activities such as witnessing wild animals in their natural habitats, and we contribute to the lives of sacred communities. So it's a whole sort of well-rounded approach to ethical travel, and that's what VOGO Tours is about.
Right, and you also sound like a socially responsible entrepreneur. So how would you like to expand on that sphere?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, when I envision the future of what that looks like, it's not going to be a niche concept, this whole ethical touring. It may seem niche at the moment, but with the awareness of our impact and what we're doing to the planet, and the strain on resources and the land and animals, really this is going to be the future. It's going to be a considered approach to travel. So that's sort of how I envision that to look like.
Great. And what are some programs or initiatives you're planning to launch this year through VOGO Tours?
Yeah, that's exciting. Without revealing too much, you're going to have to keep coming back, Nilima. We've got some pretty exciting things we're working on. I'll give you a slight hint. We've got one of our trips that we'll be releasing sometime soon. Will involve having a picnic on a glacier, which will be completely, of course, plant-based. So very exciting. And we're just going to continue increasing our roster of adventures, and we'll be just having activities packed to the brim full of ethical exploring and unique experiences when it comes to food as well. So lots to look out for sure.
Great. Harika, have you always been a travel enthusiast?
Oh, 100%, Nilima. Yes. I mean, when I think of some of the truly unique sort of experiences that I've had, they've really been quite out there. I've been sort of culturally curious, I suppose, and that led me through a really philanthropic experience living with a Cunayala tribe. They're an indigenous tribe on the San Blas Islands in Panama, and that was a really unique experience. I've headed up volunteering projects in Africa and India as well. I've done conservation free diving with sharks in the wild in the open waters of Hawaii, which is very exciting as well. So yeah, I've traveled to a lot of places, and you've got to be a travel enthusiast to set up a tour business at the end of the day. So yeah, absolutely.
Great. And now, talking about the North Indian adventure and services you offer through the platform of VOGO Tours, I've personally never been to North India. So suppose if I would like to plan a tour, which part of the year would you recommend for planning the tour?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, Nilima, if you've never been, you've got to come and join one of our trips. We've got some departures going December, January, February. These are the best time of the year to travel. Weather's great. And really, the North India trip, it's a sensory experience. Your senses will come alive. We're going to take you through the bazaars of India, through some of the cities, and you'll be seeing all sorts of traders, from jewelry to spices, and it's definitely an in your face sort of experience, and it's beautiful. We'll take you through to UNESCO heritage sites, and we'll do ethical safaris with naturalists as well, and really we get to appreciate animals in their natural habitat, and then of course, most importantly, you will of course engage in pretty unique vegan and vegetarian food experiences as well on top of that. So it's a pretty exciting trip overall. You've got to come and join us, Nilima.
Sure, I'll make a note of it, and next time when I plan to, I'll make a note to give you a call.
For sure.
Great. So as an entrepreneur, where do you see VOGO Tours in the next 10 years?
Yeah, I've got some big plans. From a technical point of view, I really envision this becoming a tech-based platform, and it will just be a more seamless, easy, quick and easy way to just sort of get yourselves on an ethical adventure, and it will be a roster of destinations, roster of experiences as well. So lots to look forward to in 10 years. Goodness, a lot I hope will be achieved by then.
Great. Now, what are some guidelines that you would recommend for somebody who is aiming to be a sustainable traveler?
There's quite a lot that we can do to be a sustainable traveler. It's really having the ability to just don't be afraid to question things. Don't be afraid to question the food chain, for example. Look at your food and look at it and go, okay, where has this been sourced from? When it comes to staying in an accommodation, are you staying in a big chain resort that's lining the pockets of big multi-chain corporations? Or are you supporting a smaller family-owned eco lodge? Who are doing everything they can to help sustain themselves. It's sort of having that awareness of your supply chain, and questioning the way you're traveling, having that sort of conscious approach in the back of your head, thinking, actually, if I go on this safari, how are the animals being treated here? Are they in their natural habitat? Are they caged and locked up? We want to be able to promote and preserve our planet, and not add any strain to it, and not really, we've got finite resources, so we want to be able to make sure that we're not straining and really sucking the earth from everything that it has. So question everything, I guess, would be some of the top tips and guidelines on how to be a sustainable traveler. Yeah.
Great. Now, lastly, what do you think this world needs the most?
Oh, I'd say compassion. With compassion, you question things. You would question the foods that you eat. You would question the activities that you do and the decisions that you make in terms of your lifestyle. And with that compassion, you would be able to change a fair bit of the way you live, and the impact that's having on the planet as well. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, so on that note, we've come to the end of this interview session. Thank you so much, Ms. Harika, for joining us today. We truly appreciate your time. And thank you, audience. Hope you had a great time with us today and learned a lot about VOGO Tours.
Brilliant. Thank you.